I'm really hopeful for some big yields. I think Michael's also hopeful for some big yields. Otherwise, he'll never hear the end of it. Well, that's a proper helicopter. Yeah. That's not a Mickey Mouse thing. That's a proper helicopter. Anyway, I felt very inadequate.
Either I'm not charging enough rent, or they're just very happy being here.
It's the 10th of June, and sun's just come out. It was a bit overcast this morning. I've got Bill Young, a Nuffield scholar here. I first met Bill probably in about, I would imagine, something around 2005, 2006, something about
that. Like that, yeah.
And Bill was one of the people which convinced me to go and do a Nuffield scholarship in 2009, and that's when I went and did it in 2010. That's when you came and all looked round and the grain store wasn't in feckle, falling down. But so Bill's come today. We've come to talk about regenerative agriculture and where we think the direction of travel that the standards in farming are going. And Bill was a big part with my father back in the must have been
1997.
Was that when it was 97? In doing Red Tractor and implementing that. And you were just telling me in the car, which I had no idea about. What did you say? In the first year of Red Tractor,
22 average non-conformances
per
farm.
Per farm.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show what change Red Tractor actually is implemented.
Well, actually, it wasn't Red Tractor. It was your combinable crop scheme then.
Oh yes, of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did they get changed to Red Tractor?
Because it was all pulled under one umbrella in 2001, and every year they pulled it all together.
And was there multiple different schemes then?
Yeah, you had Fabble. You had the Assured Produce Scheme, the Assured Combinable Crop Scheme. The Dairy Scheme was set up separately, and the Beef and Lamb Scheme, which came under Fabble, and then Pigs and Poultry as well.
And this is what the difficulty was. There were so many schemes.
All
people were suffering because if they had different enterprises on their farm, they were suddenly
all had their own boards, yeah,
and had to have all these different
inspections, different bodies,
and none of them cross over, did they? They couldn't say, "Oh, well, I've done that because it was part of such and such." I mean, in some element, we have the task and the Red Tractor, but they do it at the same time now.
Yeah.
Which is good for us, including the transport. So we only effectively have to get the paperwork out once.
It cuts out some of the duplication, but not between the government departments, does it?
No. But I mean, so if there's 22 non-conformances at the beginning, that was quite a sweeping change.
Massive, and the bottom 10% probably went out of production if the truth would be known. The number of decision makers in agriculture was a lot higher then. You know, I should think there's probably 25,000 people making decisions in British agriculture now, whereas back then it was 60, 70,000.
Oh right, so it's a significant change.
Yes, and farms have just got bigger, haven't they? And you're living proof of that.
Yeah, that's
you just had a farmyard when I first met you.
Yeah, or half a farmyard.
Yeah,
depends how you look at it. But so. As I promised, I've got the Horsch equipment here, so I thought I'd quickly walk around and just show you the equipment that's here up in the top field. And then we've got Simon Pelly that's down in the bottom yard there, and he's come to look at the Shed of Dreams because obviously S&A Buildings built it, so we're going to go meet him, and then we'll just talk about farm assurance because actually he's played a big part in that as well, hasn't he? Building modern grain stores to modern standards.
Yeah, and look at your machinery shed, it's better than most grain stores now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you just told me at lunch, you said that they've got a bet on internally, so you've let the cat out of the bag now, but they think I'm going to end up putting grain in it because I've got concrete panels and a shiny floor.
Correct, it's a lecture theatre really, isn't it?
I'm going to actually prove them wrong. Right, so this is an Avatar 12-metre drill. So once they go up to 12, the spacings go to 25 centimetres, so it's a lot wider. And we've got quite a bit of wheat that was drilled with an Avatar on a contract with the Ward family this last year. And, you look at it and it's difficult to find anything wrong. What's unique about this is you can see the disc, interestingly, is at an angle. So you've got a slight angle on there, which is cutting in and then filling the trench in behind. And the very nature at the depth is set here. And then you move this up and down in relationship to the wheel, so you change the depth there, and then you've got closing up wheel on behind. I believe that's supposed to make that work better in the wet. And people have been buying these drills on the grants. We haven't bought one of these drills yet, but if you spoke to people like Sandy on the farm, they'd all be saying that they think we ought to let one Serto go and have one of these. So we'll get to try it this autumn, and then I'll make a decision on where we think we should go. But certainly having a direct drill does give you the ability to be more selective in how you do things. But of course, we have got the Sprinter 12 metre, which with the duet, not with the duet, sorry, with the different tines we have on it, it does allow us to direct drill. Typically we don't direct drill, or have done it in the past. I did it back in 2012. Didn't work for me. The variation was too great. I need to make sure that we get the highest yield we can, because yield is king, and it always has been. So you can only drop the operating cost so far before there's a crossover, and I think there's more uplift in yield than there is in the operational costs, especially when you find people who've got slug issues because they went direct drilling. They end up then having to do some kind of a cultivation pass to deal with them. Probably less of a problem now that oilseed rape's got dropped out the rotation. Doesn't seem that long ago, but we were 50% rape, 50% wheat. This is the new Sprinter. So this is effectively a replacement of our big Sprinter. And this has got a direct drill type foot on it. Not dissimilar to the ones you see in places like Australia and America, and something like the Seed Hawk, for example. I demoed some years ago the Seed Hawk, which Videstat brought over to the country, and had a very similar tine. Haven't tried this. There are quite a few people who've got this, and I believe they're getting on really well. I think it's speed limited, like as I understand it, 10 kilometres an hour. But there's less here than there is in my Sprinter with all the front wheels and the rear wheels. And they've now put the following tines on, which are hydraulic, come up and down, so that it closes the slots up a bit better. Because I mean, drilling effectively is all about seed to soil contact, and basically trying to get soil all the way around the seed, so that it does grow and you don't create this slotted channel. And then you can get slugs going down it, or water going down it and rot the seed. Lovely bits of kit. This is a 12 metre Cruiser, so it's a much finer tine than what we'd have on our Terrano. I mean, that's about a quarter of what we got on the Terrano. And it's got a double following packer. It's got a row of levelling discs there. I know one or two people who sort of move to this. They go over it hard and fast in front, and then they'll go in with a sort of effectively a direct drill. They just moved probably 2 inches with it. I with the Terrano, I go at 4 inches deep. But this is to go quick and fast. Don't bring up clods. Just create a nice tilth. It's a cultivation version of a straw rake. That's the only thing about 12 metre kit. It takes a while to walk around it. Right, now we've got to an 8 metre Finer that's here. So this is a much heavier duty version from the Finer 12 metre drill I've got, and the 6 metre drill. It's got like the double springs on it. Double packer. Probably makes a lovely job in the spring. And it looks bigger than 8 metres. And there's a collection of machinery here. There's almost a machine for every type of land type and every type of farmer. So we've got a drill that's quite good for doing cover crops, that sort of thing. Quite heavy duty discs on it. Like effectively my 12 metre Joker. This is the 6 metre version, but they put a mini drill, and then it's blowing the seed just behind the disc, and then it's got the double packer behind it. So different packer to the one I have. Mine actually go in between each of them. This is sort of almost separate. So if you want to do cover crops, that sort of thing, it's a nice little drill for that. This is one of our Sertos. So you've got the front tyres that it's running on, braking clods. Coming up behind, it's got the discs. It's got a pair of discs on this one as opposed to the Avatar, which is singular. And they're at an angle, dropping the seed in behind. There's like a little tongue there stopping it blocking. And then you've got the wheel coming on, then you've got a following tine. This makes a pretty drilling. Goes well for us. As I said, we've got 2 of these. What have we got here? Terrano 12 metre. This is our Terrano. So you can see the size of the springs on the on this now, and in comparison to what we're just looking at with the Cruiser, very heavy duty tines. And when it's really hard, like unless it rains before harvest, you need something like this because the ground will be going solid now. We're just digging over the back there at the moment where the back of the Shed of Dreams is. Chris is digging around to put the perimeter wall in, and he's down probably about 2 meters, and I'm amazed how dry it is through the profile. It's quite frightening to see how dry it is because it's crumbling back on itself. But I'm a real fan of these. See, here's the packer. You can see the packers in between each other on this, which if you've ever blocked one and you've had to get in here behind, you really don't enjoy it. Chris has actually got this pneumatic handheld thing, which was brilliant at getting the mud out. But whew, if you block one of these up, you don't try and do it very often because it can take hours to unblock. Right, now we've got a Pronto 7. So Pronto 7, they tell me the Pronto drill is the biggest selling machine Horsch make. So you've got the front discs on here, and then you've got front levelling boards, and then you've got a set of wheels, and you've got 2 hoppers there coming down to exactly the same as what I've got on my power drill, the turbo disc, which is effectively the same as that Pronto over there, which the 2 discs angled together, and then the press wheel following behind, and the following harrow, which is the same as what's on my Serto as well. Then we've got the Maestro, which is, I had a 12 metre version of one. It's a 24 row one, which we used for putting sugar beet in. It was fantastic. And it was on 50 centimetre rows. And if you can have this in maize, and they've made it now where it's clamped on here, so you can move it around. So you take a couple off and you can go to 75 centimetres if you want to for maize. So it's a bit more, mine was actually a fixed box, so you couldn't move it around. But yeah, nice machine. There was a thought once that we'd end up all planting wheat with this design, but actually the school of thought is that the precision of planting wheat like this actually isn't the most important thing to get the yield. This is a Fortis, so 5.4, and big heavy duty tine. That effectively looks identical to me to what the Terrano is. Much deeper, longer leg though, and you can see how much clod it brings up when you look up on the top of the frame. Some of the mud it's put up and it's landed on top, but that's substantial. Double packer on the back, and then they got just before the pack you got the levelling disc. These discs actually don't look like much, but they're surprising how much levelling they do. See, there's been a bit of rain when they last used it. Proper man's land this is. These fields out here, it was called Brickyard Field, and the buildings by my office, or what my office is made of, was actually made out of the clay from out the back there, just to put it in, because all farmers like to either think that they've either got the heaviest clay in the world, or they got the best yield, or they got the worst land, or they got the worst yield. It's one of them. But anyway, so that's our clay that made the buildings. The bricks are quite soft though. You can knock a 6-inch nail through them. What's this? Oh, a Tiger. Yeah, another. Oh, it's got double springs in this one, so it's got an extra set of springs. So I'd imagine this is even more brutal. This is opposed to having a hydraulic setup. Quite a nice little thing. Yeah, you can change the weight with the hydraulic ram on the back there. Now this is new. So this is the Versa. So this is the power, which is, I suppose, is the new version of my KR6. So you've got the power deck there. You've got this wheel assembly in the front, which they're using to sort of break down clods. And then you've got the turbo disc on the back again. It's got a much bigger hopper than my KR6, which is advantageous. We can drill 15 kilometres an hour with our KR6, goes like stink. You have to put enough horsepower on the front, that's the only thing. I always used to pull mine round on the Challenger, an 865, and yeah, it drilled well. And then down the bottom there, you've got mostly my machinery. Then you've got the boom spreader, which Tom will hopefully take video a bit later. He's nodding, that's good. And the sprayer, they're going to do a demo. They're going to do it now, shortly. Okay. And then we've got my 12-metre drill up there, which is in relation to the Field of Dreams. Which every time I look at that field, it looks better and better. I'm really hopeful for some big yields. I think Michael's also hopeful for some big yields. Otherwise, he'll never hear the end of it. Mind you, he's managed to not have the black grass this year, so that's good. Especially if we've got so many people coming to visit. So they're just putting in the 2 bays. Are you here again tomorrow, Nigel? Oh no. Oh no. But anyway, they're getting the second bay now concreted, and then they'll do the middle bay and come up and slowly getting it done. I haven't seen the boys for a while concreting. Then we've got this massive area to put right at the back. But we're concentrating around the perimeter at the moment for Chris, so that we can get the wall in and get that bit sorted. And then we'll have to just accept we won't have this finished for the open day. Won't be the end of the world. But at least all the stone's now screed and gone. The screen is gone. So all this is now done. And it's nice seeing some concrete being laid. So we're stood in the Shed of Dreams. So Simon Pelly, you're in partnership, aren't you, with the ownership of S&A?
So I bought half of S&A along with Jonathan.
Yeah.
So I own 50%.
But Jonathan,
of
I've never seen. He hides.
He hides. We don't know him out.
Yeah.
He's a
And Simon does the estimating.
Yes.
And I communicate with Simon and make the various changes to whatever we're trying to do. But actually, Simon, I think for you coming down to see it, you can sort of picture the site now.
That's it, yeah.
And actually see how it is. I have a couple of standards which I want differently, like tin right to the floor, bolted to the floor. I don't want the vermin getting between the walls, that sort of thing. And I'm stood in here now, and I'm really pleased with it. I know it's only half the length, and it will go again.
Yep.
But actually, the concept of the shed works well.
Well, the concept, you said to me, you wanted all your combines undercover.
Yeah. I know, but
So
I've done that.
That's only,
stuff.
Nice seeing you. I'm going.
that's in the corner.
So you're going to take that back gable out and push it the same again?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this will be double the size?
Yeah, so the idea is that when we go to do the repairs and things on them, when they're sat in here throughout the year, Simon on his engineer's van can drive up and down the middle, work on said machine, then come back on himself, because if there's waiting for parts,
Yes.
whereas currently when it goes in the workshop, if he unfolds it and puts it in the middle of the shed, it's stuck.
Yes, you're stuck. You can't get anything else in, can't get anything out.
So he'll still go to the workshop to do things, but and this is going to have 1,900 people in it on these little chairs.
2 weeks' time? 3
Yeah,
weeks'
it's
time?
not long, is it? Oh God, I haven't really thought about it. I bet it is 2 weeks.
It's about 2 weeks' time, isn't it?
Is it the 10th today?
2 weeks tomorrow,
Oh, 2 weeks. Oh, crumbs.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
Get your tickets.
Yeah, that's it.
How many you've sold out probably, haven't you?
No, only for the conference, but the
Right.
afternoon tickets, when they get to come and meet guys like yourself and girls and whatever, and all the stands and see all the field demonstrations, because
Yep.
there's quite a lot of field demonstrations going on.
All right, like up there now.
Yeah, like they're doing now. They'd be drilling and cultivating, and there's robotics and there's drone flying and various things, all to do with sort of modern day and futuristic agriculture. Oh, and drainage. They're putting proper land drainage in.
Really?
Yeah.
On the day, just to show they're
On
doing?
the day to show it happening, yeah.
Oh, that'd be quite cool
Yeah,
to
that would
see.
be good. So a lot of people will never seen drainage probably being put
No.
in with the track machines and everything, so that'd be good. But what do you think of the shed then?
It's cracking, isn't it?
You're
It's
pleased
bigger
with
than
it?
I thought.
Is it?
They're always bigger. You draw them on a piece of paper and it's never quite, you don't get the scale of them.
No.
But the discussions you and I have had in the past 5 years about getting combines in, and you look at that and they
know.
just,
And how many sheds do you put up? Did we work out it was something like 11? It's a lot, isn't it?
I think it's 11 new from nothing,
Yeah.
and then we've got the refurbs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's one a year?
Yeah, it is
One
about
to
that.
two a year?
Yeah.
There's
yeah.
another one going, so this is this year, isn't it?
April 26.
Yeah,
So
so then
next
there's that
year.
one
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like
So
to keep
it
you
is
busy.
effectively one a year, isn't it?
One a year is what I
Yeah.
work on.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I tell our bank manager
If I was
anyway.
wealthier, I'd have more.
Well, in which case you need to get wealthier.
No. Well, it's okay one a year, because if you think I've got 25 years left of farming, that means effectively I've got 25 more sheds to build.
Jeez, you're young, aren't you? 25 years left. How long have you got left?
I'm in minus now.
Yeah, me too. I feel
that
like
right?
it. Yeah.
Well, here's a shed building. If you
Well, yeah. What's going to happen next? It's good.
Well, hopefully you've got some children coming in.
Yeah, 25 years.
Because it is, you know, it's lifetime warranty.
Is it? Yeah, my lifetime.
Mine, no,
Yeah,
mine.
you're laughing
It's
then.
definitely my lifetime.
You're laughing if it's mine.
But I was saying that up the top there, when I first met Bill, was, you know, through farm assurance and things, and we were talking about earlier how construction of grain stores has changed dramatically to what it was. And you look at this, it actually is a very simple design, isn't it? Concrete panels around the outside, silicone to the floor, and, you know, we're obviously surcharging. But the old stores, you think they were complicated with bins and elevators, conveyors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when I was on the farm, it was bins, elevators, and you were running around, brush and shovel in one hand, and yeah, it was a very different. Do you remember the old tunnels down the side with the lats under the floor full of rats and mice and. Yeah.
And farm assurance we're talking about, you know, has effectively changed a lot of the concept of how grain's stored now, isn't it?
Yeah, and the science in grain storage is absolutely massive. If you sit down and talk to one of the experts, the physics involved in the airflow through grains, absolutely phenomenal.
Well, we had a Silso engineer work out the airflows for our stores.
Yeah.
To make, because we wanted to use those drainage pipes, one for a better
You got
word,
the big
and I wanted
floor,
to go up 15 metres. So I needed them to get the calculations and the right fans to be able to do it.
To get the air into
right
it.
airflow over the top. I remember one guy used to sump them as well, so you could collect them and fill all the insecticide as well.
Yeah.
And he used to be able to do that.
Oh, what, metallic dust?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you remember metallic dust?
I do.
And he used to have the bag, and the farmer would say every so often when you're passing, just chuck in
Chuck it, yeah.
chuck in a
The
spoon.
ways of treating it. And I notice you've gone with no roof lights in this one.
No, I personally don't like the roof lights.
It's a real personal thing. That.
Birds will always fly into it if there's roof lights.
Yeah, that's the way out, isn't it? Bang, and you see holes in roof lights.
Well, it's in the grain stores where we have got it in one. You get quite a lot of heat just in the concentrated.
Just
in
in
that
as
bit.
like a square
And
on
I
there.
have had it before. Do you remember you had to come and take them out?
Yep.
It was dripping on the
You get
plastic
condensation
sheet,
on
condensation, and we were getting these squares.
You're getting a square of
on the
growing
oaks,
crop, yeah.
Growing just underneath them. So you came and took them out and put in the
just to
solid
replace it with a
sheets.
solid sheet, yeah.
So personal preference, I should. As a working area for a workshop, actually it would be perfect having the sheets.
Yeah.
For light, you know, cheap light one for a better word.
It's free light, isn't
But
it? Yeah.
no, you never know what the shed might be in the future.
But then you've got these LEDs, they'll be sipping the electric, you've got enough solar, it's not really costing, it's...
No. Well,
So that's
just
the
put
other
more
big
solar
change. They
on.
all used to be halogen lights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like cooker hobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You couldn't touch them.
And then you try and change a bulb, you need machines to get up and everything.
How you protect the glass from the grain
Yes.
when they were too hot.
Yeah.
There was hardly any manufacturers who could cope with that.
Yeah.
No, it's everything's changed, everything's really
This
different
is
now.
as close to rat proof as you'll ever get a store, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But
You'll
you're
keep mice out.
You'll never keep the mice out, you'll get the rats out.
well, they can get through anything.
That's how
Can't
they go through a pencil hole, won't they?
You don't just do grain sheds, do you? You are doing cattle sheds. You've actually got the roundhouse.
So
haven't you?
we own the roundhouse. So we do the roundhouse livestock building, although that's now being used for open farms and other stuff. This year we're making aircraft hangars.
Oh, really?
Literally aircraft hangars.
So some Chilean farmers are here yesterday.
Yeah.
And we're walking around and we did a tour. We're doing a tour up in the field talking about black grass and things like that, you know, things they don't have. And one guy who was walking back, he said to me, how do you get between your farms? I thought, I know where this is going. I know this isn't
It's
about
a
driving a car.
helicopter,
I said, oh, have you got an aeroplane? He said, no, I've got a helicopter. I said, what type? He said, I've got a Bell. I said, really? Well, that's a proper helicopter.
Yeah,
that's not a Mickey Mouse thing. That's a proper helicopter. Anyway, I felt very inadequate. And he said to me, if you come to Chile, I'll pick you up from the airport in my helicopter, I'll hire a spare pilot, and we'll go fishing from the helicopter. So we're going to go. Now, I don't know whether that means we're going to drop like.
I was going to say you're sitting
the TNT down, or whether we're going to shoot, or what we're going to do.
That'd be quite good fun.
But he said we'll hover across the top of the lake and we'll go fishing.
That'd be fun to do.
Yeah.
I'd do that.
Yeah, that would be a lifetime fun. And they salmon and trout. So.
And to be fair, if something goes wrong, you've only got a metre and you go for a swim,
probably,
don't you?
yeah, but there's a hell of a thing whirling around that will mince
You just
me
got to
up.
get away from the mincer before you. Oh, that'd be quite good fun.
So I'm going to take you around now and show you what you've got to put right before the 25th.
Right, I got to go. I can hear the phone ringing. Yeah, we've got 2 weeks to do it. Better get on with it.
Welcome to Dry Drayton Industries. This is the farm buildings that were converted in 1983. Originally, they were built in 1907 by the then owner of the farm, Tira Franklin Hooley, who was the son of Ernest Hooley, who was a financier and got involved in lots and lots of different types of businesses. And actually he lived at Papworth Hall near Cambridge, which then became Papworth Hospital. So Tira Hooley then built these in 1907, as I said, and he built them to house 150 milking cows. Now 150 milking cows in 1907 was an enormous amount of cows. The cows disappeared in 1954. When he built these buildings, they are very substantial slate roofs, brick, and the bricks, I don't know what they are, but they are really hard to drill into. So if you want to make a hole in them, you're going to need quite a few drill bits. Down this side of the units, that range of buildings, in the middle there was a steam engine, and it had a shaft that ran right the length of the building. And the idea was there were different bits of machinery in different parts of the building, and they used to sort of throw the belt onto the shaft, and that's how they got it running. The other thing to remember is that in 1907 we didn't have mains water. So water was a major problem here for the farm, and that's why there's 2 or 3 ponds which collected all the water from all the roofs as well as the fields to feed the cattle. The water was pumped up into the roofs of the main buildings, and then had pipework going out to all the fields on the farm for the cattle. Most amazing feat to have done in 1907. So there are actually 35 units. They are numbered up to 36, but then I don't actually have number 13. But 12 and 14 can be made into an extra unit if necessary. Some people, they find number 13 not a good idea. As you can see, this was the buildings that had the steam engine in. On the back was 14 stables all in a row, because they had an awful lot of horses in those days. The middle buildings here, now the wall is the same, but the actual building has been changed. There were 4 long buildings, and they housed all the cattle. On one side they actually did all the milking, and in the other they had the silage and different pens. And as you can see, as you look around here, we have many different types of industry. We have an ice cream maker, we have flowers, we have mirrors, we have a couple of gyms here. Some are just purely for storage, heating supplies, bearings, chains and sprockets. We've got everything up here you could possibly want. So we first started in 1983. We started with that range of buildings there and the front, and then 84, 85 and 86 we converted the rest to what we see here today. The biggest problem we had was car parking. So we've got quite a large car parking out the back there for about 70 cars, and although I've never actually seen it full, I've seen it quite full when the gyms are working. So the most popular size are the smaller ones, actually, the 500 square footers, which actually was 2 stables knocked together. Those I've got a waiting list for. But what happens quite often is that somebody comes in, has a 500 square foot unit, and within a few years is then wanting to stay on site and go to one of the largest. And that's what's happened. We're absolutely full at the moment. I've got a waiting list. The longest one that's been here is the Ski Exchange. They've been here since December 85. So that will be 40 years this December. We've also got others that have been here well into the 20s and 30s. And either I'm not charging enough rent, or they're just very happy being here. So when I came here as a boy in 1958, the dairy herd had gone, but we had pigs. We had the Dry Drayton herd of Welsh pigs, because my father, who'd been a GP until he retired, he was 36 when he came to be a farmer, and he was very keen on having pigs because apparently the pig anatomy is very similar to the humans. But we also had barley beef, And in those days, we used to grow the barley and the straw to feed the 360 cattle that went through in a year. Because when they were, we used to buy them at 3 months old, and when they were a year old, hopefully they'd got to 800 weight and they went off to market. Very, very lean meat, very specialist. But after we joined the common market in '73 and the price of barley went through the roof, then it was no longer viable. So in the 70s, all the livestock had gone. And the buildings virtually stood empty for about 4 or 5 years. We had different people using them for different purposes. And it wasn't until I actually got planning permission in '83 to start converting them. And I believe I was the first person in the country to convert agricultural buildings into industrial units. I remember the first lot that we borrowed the money on, £42,000, and the income was going to be 18,000. So within 2 or 3 years, we would have got our money back. My father was not very keen on borrowing money at all, to be perfectly honest. Something that we don't seem to be worried about today. When I got the first lot running, and then I wanted to do the rest, I had to go to the bank because I wanted to borrow £550,000 to do the whole lot, which we did. And I can't remember the year when the Chancellor put the interest rates up to about 17, 18%. And at that point, I really thought we'd overdone it because I could not pay the interest rates. But fortunately, it only lasted 2 or 3 days. I did actually apply for planning permission to convert some of the land, but I'm afraid that was not going to happen. So we were just very fortunate to have these buildings. But at the same time, when they were empty, they didn't take very long to start falling into disrepair. So we were very lucky that within 4 or 5 years of actually them becoming empty, that we then managed to get a new lease of life for them. And they've been going now since 1983, which is 42 years. And it's been a huge success. I just wish I had more of them.
Anyway, after I've finished abusing Tom, the couple of questions that should come in, Tom, not Tom's name, so we know who Tom is. The dog's name is Flynn, so that's effectively dog number 3. So I've had a Flint, a Finn and a Flynn. And then my horses are always called something do, like will do or can do. I did have a donkey do, but dreadful animal that was. TSP, triple superphosphate, use it as you effectively want NP and K when you're growing crops, N for nitrogen, P for phosphate and K for potash. So they're the sort of the main ingredients you want when growing a crop. So TSP on heavy clay land is what you need if you want to put it on in granule form, as opposed to using something alternative like sewage sludge or something else that's high in P. So keep eating, because the more you eat, the more sewage sludge is produced, the more that there is we can then get hold of to increase the indices on land. And tickets for the afternoon session are going well, so don't be afraid to buy some of them. We'd love to see you and come and have a look at all the demonstrations and all the people who are going to be here. And Theo Lieb is now here. I've just seen him about half an hour ago, so he's here, and that's lovely. So he's going to be here to see the people who are coming for Horsch, and I'll get to ask him later how my sprayers are doing and when I'm likely to see them. I was hoping I might see him before the open day, but I think that's probably wishful thinking. But anyway, we look forward to seeing you later in the week. All the best. Take care. Bye.